They finally had a country. Hi everyone, Amanda Hughes here for Family Tree Nuts, and I'm on present-day Naval Hospital compound, historically the site of a ceremony that happened here January 1st of 1863. Historically, the site we were on was also that of Camp Saxton, a Union Army camp set up relatively early in the Civil War. So what's this ceremony that I'm talking about? Well, it was one where Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was read to a group of former slaves for the first time. Again, this event happened in January 1st of 1863, and dignitaries and former slaves were in attendance. The dignitaries arrived by boat on a dock that was built on top of a former British colonial fort out into the Beaufort River. The black folk, as history records them, arrived by foot from nearby plantations and by steamer from all the sea islands as far as Hilton Head. The New York Times even sent a correspondent, and he noted that it was an important day to the Negroes here and one which they will long retain in the remembrance in their dawn of freedom. The Union Army had brought in great stores of molasses, hard bread, tobacco, and sweetened water, plus a barbecue of about a dozen oxen, each standing whole and roasting on the spit. A speaker's platform had been erected, and companies of the 1st and 2nd South Carolina formed a circle around that platform. The 1st and 2nd South Carolina Volunteer Colored Infantry, the first infantry units in the Union Army of African descent. The platform was reserved for the distinguished speakers in attendance, the military officers, a military band, and the lady missionaries who were also here in attendance. Women by the name of Charlotte Fortin and Laura Town. The celebration began with poetry, prayers, hymns, and speeches. There were thousands of attendants, with a sprinkling of white, but the majority were black, and they waited for the moment that they had long dreamed of. So finally, President Lincoln's proclamation was read aloud, and enthusiastic cheer came up from the audience. At the end of the proclamation, there was a call for those in the audience to join the Union Army, so they were recruited right then and there. And ultimately, over 200,000 Americans of African descent would serve in the Union Army and the Union Navy. Next, Colonel Higginson, who was the commanding officer of the regiments, received the embroidered flag, the unit's colors. He received them, and embroidered onto it was said, "The year of Jubilee has come." He gazed out into the audience, and he records in his diary later that as he took and waved that regimental flag, he heard beside the platform, relatively close, a strong male baritone African-American voice that started singing, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty." Harriet Ware, a missionary from Massachusetts, records what happens next. She says that the voices were very sweet and low, gradually increasing in number, and then the hymn even spreads to the platform, and they joined in their singing until Colonel Higginson turned and hushed them, and he says, "Leave them to it." And the former slaves sang this hymn, "My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty," all the way to the end. And Colonel Higginson, as he stood with that flag in his hand, looking out into the audience when the song ceased, they record in accounts from the time, almost musically, what he says that he could give no answer, that his words would be inappropriate to the scene that they just shared together, that this song that he had never heard could never have been sung by them until that day. So where exactly did this ceremony take place? Who knows? That piece of information has been lost to history. I choose this spot because of the grand old oak tree behind me. It's relatively close to where the plantation house would have stood. All that's recorded is that this ceremony took place in a large grove of oak trees. However, we can know by diary accounts of the time, written accounts, that it was a very poignant, emotional ceremony, both for the white dignitaries in attendance and then most assuredly for the former slaves that finally had a country of their own. Thank you for joining me. Remember, family tree nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
Like what you see? Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the little bell so you get notifications as to when we post new videos. And you can find out more about us and contact us at familytreenuts.org.